I hope everyone's doing well. Today I'm back on the studio doing some more recording. This is my first video back. Hope everyone's been having a happy new year. But today, to start the year off really well, I'm counting down the best Wonderkids for FIFA 23. Starting with goalkeepers, first on the list is Georgi Marmadashvili. He has a potential of 84 and some pretty decent stats for a good signing for almost any club in Europe, to be honest. Next, we've got Marco Canasecchi, an Italian wonderkid, the first of many Italians that I found for this list. And for some reason, most of them came from Juventus. Coincidence? I think not. Next up, we've got Ilan Melier. This is the second time he's featured on my wonderkid list. He was actually my personal favorite from the last wonderkid list from FIFA 22. So I still rate him as a good player even with that 84 potential. Up in defense, we've got Sergio Gomez with a potential of 83. And I haven't really tried him out just yet. Most of these wonderkids I haven't tried out, but I'm gonna be sure to try him out for my own personal career modes. Comment below if you want me to make like a career mode for YouTube, but I will warn you, I likely won't finish it. Next up, I've got Alejandro Balde. He was my favorite left-back wonderkid with a potential of 85. I really did enjoy using him in last year's career mode. Funny enough, I never got him to that 85 potential, but maybe that's because I didn't play career mode as much as you'd expect. Next, we've got Fran Garcia, another left-back, not really a left wing-back. He has a potential of 83. Someone I have not used yet. This is the first time I hear of his name in FIFA career mode, so I'll definitely be excited to put him into one of my teams. Next, for center backs, we've got Morato, the Brazilian. He featured in my FIFA 22 wonderkid list as well. I did use him a few times. I kind of enjoyed him, but at the same time, I stopped using him mainly because I kind of forgot about him, and I also had other players like Gavardio, who doesn't feature on this list. A new player that I haven't quite heard of just yet is Calvin Bassey from Nigeria. He has a potential of 85. He's pretty decent, got some decent stats. Hopefully he'll feature to be one of my favorite center backs in this game. I'm definitely going to be trying him out for my next career mode. Next, we've got Mickey van der Ven. He has a potential of 85, which means he could probably become the next Virgil van Dijk or maybe the next Matthijs de Ligt. And if you do pair him up with Matthijs de Ligt, then you got a strong defense for the future. I have not used him like most wonderkids. Like I said, I haven't used anyone here, but he's exciting. Next, we've got Giorgio Scalvini, another Italian. I think I also found him in Juventus. So yeah, Juventus has got a good academy. This one has a potential of 85. And he's got some pretty okay stats for a 70 overall center back. Next up, we've got Antonio Silva from Portugal. He has a potential of 87. I think it's the highest potential of all the defenders here, which is pretty good in my opinion. He has an overall of 72, so it'll take some time to grow him there. But me personally, I wouldn't mind growing him up to that. It's gonna feel a bit more satisfying when he gets there. But yeah, he looks very promising. He looks very decent off the bat for one of those teams in like Portugal or in the Championship or League One. Next, we've got Dane Rensch from Ajax. I did feature him in my last Wonderkids video as well. He can play both left and right back because of his 5-star weak foot, and he does have a potential of 84. Next on the list, I've got João Mario, another player from Portugal at the right back position. Now, his physical stats do spring out to me, but his technicals, they could do it with a bit of work, especially the slide tackling. So maybe put up a development plan, maybe like the defensive white back development plan. But with that 84 potential and a bit of dynamic potential help, he could grow to be something special. Next on the list, I've got Dino Livramento. He has a potential of 85, and again, he did feature in last year's FIFA 22 Wonderkids list. And he was actually my favorite right back to use as like a backup, and also like one of the more important players in like a road to glory of some sorts, because he does start off with a good basic overall of 75, and he's got some pretty decent pace at 81, and he's a bit on the cheaper side for these right backs. Now we move on to midfielders, and the midfielder to start us off is Alan Varela with a potential of 86, and he's got some really decent stats with that 76 overall. He's a really good CDM from what I can see so far, and I would definitely trust him to be like a solo anchor man. But if you can put him on the right development plan, it could grow to be something really special, and with dynamic potential, it could even grow to like a 92 or a 93. And of course, we've got another Italian with Nicolo Fagioli. I think he's also from Juventus. I'm gonna guess that every Italian I find is from Juventus. He might not be, but yeah, I think he's also from Juventus. He has a potential of 85. Another pretty decent CDM, and he's a bit on the cheaper side as well if Varela is a bit too expensive for you guys. Samuele Ricci is another Italian CDM from Italy, and he has a potential of 85 as well, and he's got some pretty decent stats, a little bit better than Fagioli, but you know, they're both like more or less the same in a way. But yeah, I wouldn't really be struggling to choose between the two. I definitely choose Ricci, but it's not really a wrong option either way. Another player from Italy, and I know this one's from Juventus, I can remember it because his potential stood out to me. He has a potential of 88, and he has some pretty good stats to start off with that 88 potential. Like I said, he's from Juventus. He is another Italian. I don't know about you guys, but in FIFA, the future of Italy's national team is scary, guys. Real scary. He has a good value as well, like 7 million. That's pretty decent. That's a steal in my opinion. Next, we've got Pablo Gavi. I was a bit mixed on putting him on the list. He does have a potential of 87. The reason I didn't really feel like putting him on the list was because of his value. He is a bit more on the expensive side when it comes to the Wonderkids, and he's just under that 80 overall limit that I like to put on these Wonderkid lists. But he's a pretty decent player. I just really like him as a midfielder, and that's why he's on the list. Next up, we've got Orkan. I'm not going to try to say his last name. I don't want to be memed on like Speed got memed on. So yeah, I'm good there. He has a potential of 86. He's got some pretty decent stats for a center mid. One thing that kind of stands out to me is his pace. He's a bit pacey, he's one of more like the pacey mids, and he's got a good value. Now, a new face in FIFA 23, or at least for me, is Enzo Fernandez. He did very well for Argentina in the World Cup, and I'm not surprised now that I see he has a potential of 87 and some pretty decent stats to start off. He's definitely one of the players that a top tier Champions League team would sign to like fill up their midfield and potentially become someone very special for them in the future. Next up with the cams, we've got Mohamed Kudus with a potential of 85 from Ghana. What would I say about him? Personally, I feel like the only reason I would sign him is for his pace. And pace for midfielders isn't really that important in FIFA 23 unless using 4-3-3 attack. But even then, I really don't think it's going to be that important. But it's still a good get, especially if you can give him a development plan that will upgrade his passing. So yeah, it's up to you. But me personally, I wouldn't take him. Dominic Szoboszlai is an 80 overall. It feels like a cheat because I wasn't meant to be putting 80 overall players. But because he's so good, and this would probably be the last time he's going to be considered a Wonderkid that can be bought on or featured on this list, I had to put him in. He's got a potential of 87 and he's been doing really well for RB Leipzig. Next, we've got Thiago Almada with a potential of 87 from Argentina, and I really gotta ask myself, how is this guy still in the USA? This guy needs to get a move out of the USA. He needs to leave Atlanta United and join like a big team in Europe, maybe Barcelona, or maybe even just any team in the Premier League, because I really want to see him play for myself. I want to see him play in the Premier League. He just looks so good. Look at the stats, and especially with that 87 potential, like, it's got me hyped to see if ever he does move to Europe, how he's actually going to do. Now, next on the list, we've got Xavi Simons, and I have to say, what a comeback for Xavi Simons. I feel like last year I was like, man, he's going to be a failed Wonderkid, and crazy enough at the age of 19. But ever since he moved away from like the big teams in Europe, since he moved to PSV, he's just been doing really good. He's given himself a potential of 87. He's gotten a 75 overall, and he's got some pretty nice stats, especially the passing and the dribbling. He could definitely develop those to do really good, and his pace is actually really good as well, which is the one part that surprised me. Now we move on to wingers, and we start off strong with Yeremy Pino with an overall of 75 and a potential of 88. I think he's the highest rated player, not really, second highest potential on the list so far with the wingers at least. So yeah, that's pretty good for him. He's got some pretty good stats, but he is, because he's like a right mid, I feel like you should focus more on the passing stats, because I don't think converting him to a right winger is really going to work out that well. Next, we've got another Georgian whose name I just don't want to try to pronounce. I mean, I could practice it and then do it after I practiced it, but because I want to get this video out like really quickly, I'm not going to do that. He's got a potential of 88. He's got some pretty decent stats. Plays for Napoli, who's been doing very well this season. How many of you guys know that Napoli is actually undefeated and that Liverpool was the only team to beat them in Europe this season? Next up, we've got Ansu Fati, 79 overall, a potential of 90. I think he has the best potential on the list. Checking my notes, he actually does. He's got some pretty good stats still. I think there was a time when he was being called the next Messi for a certain amount of time. I really didn't feed into that hype that much, but I could definitely see where people were coming from because he's got some really decent stats and he's got some decent pace and some okay dribbling. He has a bright future in football, that's for sure. Next up on the list, a bit of a new face for me is Michael Olise. He has a potential of 84. He plays for Crystal Palace, and again, he's just one of those players with some pretty good stats. 77 overall. He's a good get for a team who can afford him. Maybe someone like Liverpool, maybe Spurs, Man United, you know, it's the teams like that. And then we move on to the strikers. First off, we got Hugo Ekitike. Maybe I said that right, maybe I said that wrong, I don't know. 76 overall, pretty decent, not gonna lie. And then we've got Jonathan Burkhardt up next, 76 overall, 84 potential. And I like him more than the other strikers because he's just a bit of more well-rounded in the physicals. When it comes to technicals, he's a bit more of the same between the Hugo Ekitike and the next striker on the list, which is going to be Goncalo Ramos. Had a really good World Cup in my opinion. 76 overall, potential of 85. He isn't the fastest in the world, but I would say you would give him the mobile striker development point because even though pace isn't that important in this year's FIFA, I still feel like a striker whose pace is below 82, 83 is just not efficient for your attacks. Well, that marks the end of my Wonderkid list. You can stick around to check out how they did at the end of Season 1. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm done here. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. And just like last year, if you have any other Wonderkids you want to add, comment them down below. Now I know last year I did ask you guys to do that and I didn't make another Wonderkids video featuring your Wonderkids. But this year I'm going to try to make the effort to do so, especially now that I have less projects to do, because I'm not really going to be doing career mode series that much. Just going to be focusing on Wonderkids and analysis type of things. It's going to be a light workload, so yeah, maybe if you comment Wonderkids, you'll be more likely to have them appear in a video. But that's all from me. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. You can check out, like I said, you can check out how they did at the end of Season 1. But until next time, I'll see you later. Goodbye.